Okay, so this week I went more into depth with the control theory and labeling theory. Let's see here. Okay, so this is kind of to summarize it up. So the social control theory, this is when theorists ask like what causes conformity, and basically they are saying that once they know why people conform or why they're complying with standards or rules, then they'll know what causes deviance. So deviance is defined as the absence of what causes a deformity. So basically, what this means to me is if you're not complying with society's norms or rules, then you're being deviant or you're performing deviant acts. So you're going against a social norm. So that's how those two are related. And to me, I kind of thought it was scary to think about it because, I mean, our whole society is really like a lot of people do conform, especially when you think about technology. Like people conform to technology and they are using that more and more, and it's becoming more of a social norm. So if you don't, then you're kind of looked at as outside of the group. Is what I get at it. So the reintegrative shaming versus disintegrative. So reintegrative, basically that's, I'm sorry, let's start with disintegrative. Disintegrative is where the person is punished, such as being rejected, and then reintegrative is kind of a positive reinforcement. So it's kind of a positive shame, basically where they're taught a lesson. So basically, to me, I would not do disintegrative because that is more of like a okay, we're over it, ban them, that kind of thing. Reintegrative is kind of teaching them a lesson so they understand what they did wrong and that they can do better next time. So to me, like for parenting or something, I would definitely use reintegrative because I think positive reinforcement works better. People learn from their mistakes because people cause mistakes, and but they can learn from that. Um, so then it's kind of, I guess, another thing that we can talk about is how should we punish deviant people. So it just depends. Some people are saying that if we don't punish people, then they keep doing the same act and the deviant acts, and um, it's kind of hard to decide because if we don't punish them, then yeah, maybe they will keep doing the acts. But also, we should think of better ways to punish them so that they don't perform these acts again. Um, so if the U.S. basically used reintegrative shaming, we could prevent and reduce crime rates. Um, One of my ideas was that I think we should allow deviant people to um, do volunteer hours or maybe um, volunteer volunteer hours, that kind of thing. Maybe hours spent volunteering at places that need it, so it can go toward uh, a good cause. Is what I'm saying. So should we use reintegrative shaming or disintegrative? Like I said, I think that we should use more reintegrative, but people are saying, that doesn't really help. You're just teaching them a lesson, but most of them won't learn from the lesson. They'll just keep doing it, which is just hard to find an equal balance of punishment and positive reinforcement so we can lower the crime. The part that I really liked from this theory is that basically the weaker the bond someone may have to society, then they're most likely to commit deviant acts. So I think of like someone that's really involved in the community and not hides out, that kind of thing. If you're very outgoing, social, you're definitely going to be less deviant. And so the second theory, I'm sorry, before we move on, hating the sin but loving the sinner. This was just a quote that I found in the book that I really liked that has to do with the first theory. So the second theory is a labeling theory, and basically that is how we don't focus on the deviant person, but we focus on the interaction between the person and other normal people. So I think this theory is kind of skewed because basically we are interpreting who and what behaviors are deviant. So like how do we know what isn't and what is deviant? And some certain people, maybe such as police, law enforcement, judges, that kind of thing, they can label those. One of the consequences from this theory is that labelers, such as the police, psychiatrists, etc., they might cause someone to label themselves, if that makes sense. So if someone hears that they're called deviant, then they're gonna, be like, oh, well, maybe I am deviant. Maybe I did this, and I am deviant now, and that kind of thing. So it kind of predicts the future for them. Like they might not be deviant, but now that they've called that, they're convincing themselves. So I think that's definitely a consequence of this. I think another consequence, in my opinion, is that I don't think it's right that there are certain people that can and can't call each other deviant or can call this person deviant, this person isn't, or this act. I think that's kind of skewed. But basically, I think that we should try to see equality and less judgment in our world, and I think this doesn't help us. Um, it's just kind of unfair and not as just. So yes, both of these I thought were really interesting. I really liked the control theory, and the labeling theory. I thought is just very like I didn't. I like to learn about it, but I don't think it's fair.